Hi, welcome to episode 44 of my Krastorio playthrough. We put a wall around it, and now the only really bad thing is I can't get back in on my own without dismantling a few of those walls. I don't even have gates, because gates are overrated. Instead of using gates, I'm just opening up the wall and closing it again. So there we go. My robots do the work. At this point, I'm not doing work on my own anymore. It's a robot job. Yeah. Jokes aside, I now have a complete wall around my factory for now. Everywhere we have locked the biters out. I don't know how long this will work, but I also have now my my peace and quiet to finally build those yellow science packs that I wanted to have all the time. So let's get right into that. I'm just researching the more modern modules. A lot of these things I don't really use as of yet, which is well, a little bit of a shame, but only a little bit. This mod offers a lot of things, and we're going to cover them along the way. But for today, we're going to use this production block here, and so I already figured the low density structure production out. We have that stuff on a belt somewhere here, so that's done. Next up is the fuel refinery. We actually need 30 of those guys, which is kind of insane. I also need a lot of other things beforehand, so I'm going to start from bottom to top, because I mean, I already ruled out these things, but this sequence here is all necessary. These are all necessary for the rocket fuel. So first off, I need some source of iron ore, and I really thought about it for quite some time, but I don't see any other choice of rerouting myself some good old iron ore from my hub. Because if I don't go from my hub here, ooh, there's some laser inferno. Because if I don't go off my hub, chances are I'm going to deplete the source of iron at some point, because that's patch you saw over there, it's not going to last much longer. So we're going to use our wonderful hub here, and it's going to be another long way relay. Okay, so there we go. So if I'm going to need further expansions with the ore production, that's going to be the point where I'm finally going to set up some trains. I know I talked here and there between the episodes about trains, but I personally feel like I didn't have the need of using trains in this run so far. I mean, sure, we can do some. I could have saved myself some running with a logistic network where I could just drive with my train from station to station, sure, but I don't know. I don't really feel like I need that. Okay. Most of the time when I think about train networks, the train feels like an overkill to me. And talking about overkill, going to reduce the amount of ammo even further we are storing here, like this, because this is all materials we're using, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to need that many of those bullets in the long run, so I'll rather go a bit lower with that. So let's check out where I can drop down some copper plates. Copper plates, anybody? Copper plates? You look like you need some copper plates. There we go. I'm just trying to spread away a few of these materials there. Okay. So belts. I don't need much more than that, don't I? Well, maybe I should stock up on my yellow inserters a little bit. Don't have many of those left. But apart from that, I'm fine. Okay. So now, since I have managed the iron ore, it's a little bit of an overkill to split off a whole belt for just 6 furnaces, but what can I do? We just need it. I would pick a smaller belt or something like that, but it doesn't really matter. The only thing that really changes is the amount of ore that will just lie on the belt. Okay, so... Oops, that's what I wanted. Okay. I'm going to need 6 of those buggers, so... Let's do it like that. That's 6. And... going to sneak in here and use that. Okay. I'm, oh, well, you know the drill. I keep my eye on the drama there. I'm going to output with the red guys onto this belt here. Oops, wrong direction. So this is going to be the iron plates we need for the future there. Okay. So 30 fuel refineries. I'm going to build those guys over here because we have this big old refinery complex over here, and I think this is a good spot to build the rocket fuel. Or maybe I should go for the electrolyzers next. Yeah, let's go for the electrolysis plants first. So we're going to need water for those, and we're going to need 8 of them. This is pretty easy overall, like one of the easiest things we did so far. So I consider all of this hub area, so I don't want to disturb this. Alright, let's drop down these buggers over here, 8 of them. Let's see, I would really like to do it like this to save some room. There we go. So we just rotate them to get the water inputs on one side. I don't want to close that. I keep closing that. Okay, there we go. I need these informations, you know. So we're having the input over here, and I don't assume I'll need a pump or something. The distance is not really long enough. And also we're not using such tremendous amounts that it's going to be really necessary. So we're having our first damage on the wall here, so luckily it's right around the corner. I only set up a very basic perimeter around my base the last time to ensure that everywhere is some kind of defense, but I knew that ultimately I would have needed to strengthen these. So let's go for some more lasers, because we're going to do even more oil at some point. I mean, let's check out. My oil tanks are full, you know. Oh, not as full as the ones were. Okay. That's, am I using more than I'm gaining? That would be a problem. So I really need to keep an eye on this, because if this trend is continuing, like right now, the oil amounts are dropping, at some point this whole array might run out of power because I'm using too much oil. Possible. I don't know yet. Okay. But for now, I just got distracted by the biters. Okay. So this is going to be quite easy. Like, let's connect them like this. There we go. So this is going to be the oxygen input for the fuel refineries we're going to plop down next. So these guys will need the iron ore we're producing, and we're going to need 30 of them. It's such a rotten amount, don't you think? But, well, let's check. These are 5. I don't need to, or, well, I need to output that stuff somehow. So let's say these are 5. I'm going to demark them a little bit. Like, let's go for some distance, some extra distance every 5 pieces. I need something like that. So that's going to be 10. Let's go for 1, 2, and 3. Enough for inserters, you know. And then the last 10 of these guys, well, whatever. Let's go for the long straight. So, alrighty. So that's going to be the rocket fuel we're needing. I don't know yet if I'm going to output the stuff in the one direction or the other. So rocket fuel, there we go. Just copying this recipe everywhere. There we go. It seems like a good idea to get the fluid connectors on the backside and get the output on the middle lane there. It should be the easiest way to manage that. But then again, so I'm going to do something like this. This is something I'll definitely need, because this is something, this is going to be where I'm inputting the iron. I'm not sure if this is actually going to work out, that's why I'm mapping it out for now, like this. So we're going to need a few pipes, like this. But it seems to be okay like that. But no, it actually ain't, because we are going to need these 2 spots for the connectors here, and oh, I can't use the red-handed inserter here, I guess. If I no, I can't configure that, because if I configure him, yeah, drop near, drop far, can only influence the drop tile, so that's not working out. Alright, so they need to get their steel from somewhere else, so this means their iron much more. I'm going to change this design like that. We're going to replace this by a whole column, or no, 1 grid, not a whole column, just 1 grid, like this. Because this will give me enough room to slip through another belt with the necessary iron. I mean, sure, I could just get the iron on this 1 belt, and I don't know. I'm not down for that right now. So we're just doing 2 belts here. One's going to be for the output, and one's going to be for the input. We could manage that with only 1 belt, but I don't feel inclined to do that today. So there we go. Let's copy these recipes real quick, and then I'm going to continue the pipe works. All right. Or no, we're going to do it like that. So I'm going to need the output here. So the top belt will be the rocket fuel, and this will be the iron. So these guys will run like that. Okay, and these guys will be grabbing iron from there. These are the input units for this side. And these are, that's a wonderful design where I just can place the red inserters right away because they don't need to change their directions. Ha, neat. Don't get that lucky this often. Okay, so next up will be the pipings. Let's drive away the armored vehicle. There we go. Oh, the robot comes to repair the tank. Cute. Okay. So, defenses are holding. Wonderful. I would be really concerned if the oil would be not sufficient, because that would mean I'd need another input for oil. But, well, the things you do for oil. Okay, there we go. So, the input of the oxygen will be quite easy. Do I have enough pipes? Well, I guess so. I'm going to need another flare stack, or however they are called in this mod. The thing where you burn fluids you don't need anymore. Where is it? Air purifier. No, quite the opposite. Fluid burner. There we go. So it's the same thing here, only in a smaller degree. We're going to burn the white stuff and use the red stuff. Alright, the productivity module production is through. Let's keep going here. Just keep going and going. Alright. So, going to use the burner thing. Well, we're burning over here. Why not? Here we go. So, now we need the ground to pipe thingies. Since we're burning into that direction, go. I think I have to expand this a little bit then. Alright. Because I need to leave room for the connectors to this side. There we go. So we're going to let this run probably like this. So let's go. Okay, only need the rest of the connections. That's going to be the easiest part. And for these buggers, we're going to let that run like that. Do some quick connection over here. Going to let that run like this, don't we? This is the end of that route, so we can safely let them go like this. All right. Good. This will connect the rest of these guys with each other, and now we're doing this, and now all the materials are getting led to these guys. We're done soon, promise. These arrays always need a little bit of time to get prepared properly. So this connects the system with the oxygen, and we're going to need a lot more of those. Possibly I won't be having enough for the moment. I'm really not convinced anymore that I have enough of these boys with me. Alright, so we have to do it like that and that and... So do I have another stack in my inventory? No, that was the rest. So yeah, all these fluid works need insane amounts of pipes. And on the other side, my base is getting attacked non-stop at this point. We're getting attacks from all manner of sides, and that's also why I used the why I wanted the laser turrets so badly. Because right now, well, if we look at it in a 10-minute, yeah, these can I look at the laser turrets in the longer run? Well, maybe this is too long. So cross the time of 1 hour. Didn't have 10 hours. Cross the time of 1 hour. So my laser defense is basically right now use around 10 megawatt per well, 10 megawatt of my production basically. So that means I can drop down a lot more laser turrets without being in trouble of what's it called, of over I know the German word for that. I'm not in risk of using too much energy. That's what I'm trying to say. But overload was the word basically. I'm not afraid to overload the system. Oh, well, whatever. Sometimes it's quite hard when you're juggling with different languages in your head. All right, so let's keep going. I got the urge to drop down a few batteries in the assembler there to make sure we're going to produce more laser turrets, because obviously these are the future for me. Okay. So, back to my good old rocket fuel plant. I didn't expect this amount of production just to crank out 1 yellow science pack per second. I mean, come on, that's the worst part about it is one science pack per second is not really much. Oh well. I guess you could also get more efficient ways of producing fuel in the long run. I guess that's what I'm doing wrong there. So I'm now leading the light oil over to my facility. They will still only burn the excess production they are having. They won't be, as far as I'm informed at least. It should be working like this, but maybe I'm wrong and I need to disconnect the flare stack afterwards. Not entirely sure there. So we have now the connection with the light oil, and now we need to just stack together everything. And I need to check out how many refineries I'd actually need to get this amount of light oil up and running. Not that I just want to make sure that I'm not having too little of that stuff. That's all I want to make sure. But I think I vaguely remember I already did that in the past. But let's just be sure. Okay. So a couple of hundred units of pipes later. Alright, so we're producing what? 108 units of light oil per second, and we're could run 3 of those guys with that amount of hardware. Okay, so we're now powering it up. There we go. So the electrolyzers are up and running, and let's go for the oil plants. Oh yeah, we can actually supply everything with power just like that. So How did I do so much damage to this thing, and why? Okay, so the last thing we're now lacking are the iron plates. Let's just research the extra braking force. I don't mind. And lastly, we'll only be needing the production of the tech cards now, because I think I have, after the rocket fuel, I think I have everything I need to actually get this thing rolling. So, oh, maybe not this way. Going to exploit that immersite cave one day. So I don't want to spam too much building over here. So I said the lower one is the iron input. There we go. Let's drop down a little one of these boys in between here. And there we go. I know it's practically not worth it, but that's just to make it even. I like it when things are even. Okay, and yeah, we now only need to do some blank tech cards. But that's nothing too new here. One own assembler for blank tech cards will be enough. So we're going to set that up over here because this is going to be the easiest spot to produce that stuff. Going to need copper and iron. Oh man, this whole blank tech card business is really some kind of ordeal. So can't I get my copper down there to produce it somewhere like this? Don't I have a copper input I could exploit at this point somehow? That would be really awesome, wouldn't it? So these guys are certainly completely stressed out with that business. Hey, looky here. And that's what I needed. Wonderful. And now I need some input for the iron plates as well. Alright. So, let's change that one. This was botched. Okay. So, where does that iron come from here? And it goes over to this place. And how many iron plates does this place use per second? 7.5. Also distributing, yeah, never mind, this gets used up. Oh no, I don't want to. So yeah, I'll just give up and accept that I have to build those research servers. What do I need for those? Plastic. Yeah, plastic is the other side of the map. Okay. So yeah, I think that's where a better, larger scale organization of my base would have been very, very handy. That's where you start noticing the chaos. Okay, so we are only a few steps away from producing yellow science, which will be, well, almost the last step. After this only comes the matter science, and when we're done with the matter science, we're done with all the science. So this is the point where I'm just finishing the yellow science now, and once we're done with that, this is going to be really, really exciting. So, oh, we're also running out of iron actually. So as you see, we need to upgrade several branches of the factory anyways. Maybe I'm going to stop research for now, because this is also putting a pretty heavy strain on my production chains. And over here is the plastic. Somewhere over here at least. There we go. So I just want to finish today's topic, basically. So we're going to use the research servers, and I'm out of electronic components at this point, but electronic components are produced over here. So yeah. But overall, I noticed that several parts of my factory are not working out as they were before. Like in the means, I'm noticing that my iron ore influx is running low. I'm noticing a lot of other deficiencies we're suffering from, and it's time to upgrade a lot of things there. It's time to upgrade a lot of things during the next few episodes. I mean, I'm also pretty at the end of the research chain. There goes fusion energy. Ooh, I need to check this out. So tritium is what we're going to use there. But one of the most important parts I just noticed, and is really making me a little bit uncomfortable, is the fact that my iron, my source of iron seems to not work out anymore. It seems like I'm using more iron per second than I'm gaining, so it's time to tap into other sources, but one thing at a time. So now I'll only need to find some means of producing those stupid tech cards. So yeah, as you can see here, my smelters are running out of ore to smelter. So same here, copper is also getting a little bit sparse. Steel production is still super enriched. Talking about which, I think that's going to be what we're heading into during the next episodes. We're going into ore enrichment, because I feel like ore enrichment is a very super useful tree, which basically does just one thing. You're getting more ore per, you're getting more plate per ore. Once you're through with the optimization process, you'll be getting more of that per unit. Alright, so I'm guessing, yeah, this is where we're going. Look at that. So we're going to need only one of these guys, so good for us. And I'm also just using this guy here, and we're doing it like that. One red-handed inserter here, one blue inserter obviously here, and we're getting the output on a red-handed there, and this is going to be how we're running it. Okay. So with the other ingredients necessary, we're having a lot of options. So most of these guys are not working at all, so they're not getting the proper amount of oil there. So why is this not working out? So seems like the flare stack is a problem after all. Because I mean, I can't really imagine that these guys are not producing the proper amount of light oil here. I mean, if we look at that, they should be producing 108 units of light oil per minute, and these guys, whoa. Okay, so the attacks are getting heavier here. Need to take care of that. These guys ought to be using only 30 light oil, so what's the matter? Why is there not enough light oil running through these machines? The only assumption I can take is they're grabbing up that stuff rather slowly. So, what I'm going to do, and I'm pretty sure that was the mistake, the burner was way too early in the production chain, so now the burner has to be at the end of the chain. He's basically the end of the line. This is where the dead where the dead light oil goes to final, or the dying light oil finally goes to die. So this should be working out now better. Well, let's wait until everything evened out a little bit. That's would be not the first time that these things need a moment to get back into order when they're overstressed. But yeah. So I'm just assuming the easiest spot to produce these things would be over here. So I'm going to let the low density structures run like there. And yeah, those bad boys are running into my walls at this point. So there goes this stuff. And there goes this stuff. And, well, obviously I'll need to mix it a little bit, hey? Alright. Just, creating myself some gaps to walk through. I guess this stuff would be the best to create a mixed belt with. So for now my defenses are holding, so I'm not that anxious there. So let's run these stingers through here. I know it's quite a long route to just grab a few tech cards, but if I compare it with the effort necessary to actually get the materials for the tech cards down there where I want to produce the science packs, yeah, well, okay. So I guess we're almost there. Same thing the biters seem to think while attacking my premises even harder and harder. I don't have blue belts yet. I forgot about those, hey? Okay, gotta change that at some point. Overall, there's a lot of work to do to modernize this whole mess of a base. But it's the same as in real life. I'm also in real life not really good at keeping things in order. I'm completely honest with you. I'm quite a chaotic guy. And yeah, I think that reflects in my building style as well. Oops. There we go. But I finally get the parts together. Come on, like, we're finally getting there. I'm going to use a little splitter over here, and well, or I don't even need a splitter. I just can let these guys run together like that. So he's going to be that. It's going to be that. Maybe maybe we're going to do it like that though. Alright, just to give the research servers some easy option to grab both these materials. Here we go. Last but not least, the low density structures. Let's run them like that. That's that, and that's that. Oops. Okay, oh, wonderful. We got this. Out, input, 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 input. Input, 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 and there goes finally the output, I assume. So, there we go. Output goes into this direction, I'd say. Boom, boom, boom. And let's connect it with power and see if it runs. But overall, they seem to be able to grab all the stuff they need, not in the exact amount of time that I would wish for, but who cares about that? And lastly, I need to twiddle this in somewhere over there. So we're going to make it like that. So this is going to be the most intricate part here. Actually don't want to let them run like that. I think the easier part, the easier way will be to follow a similar way like here, but just like that. Here we go. And then just like this. I want to get the easiest merge in, and the easiest merge in I found so far was just needed, wonderful. Was just to let them merge like this, boom. Because the yellow tech card won't be used by the smaller laboratories anyway, so now we just let that pile up. And that's that. So, my friends, we're now up for the almost most modern technologies available in game. We can go for more damages, more everything. So, yeah, friends, stay tuned. I'm going to explore the world a little bit more and grab up a few more minerals, strengthen my production, stuff like that. There's a lot of things to happen, and I think this series will be going for a few more episodes until we're done. So feel free to drop a comment down below. I always appreciate to hear from you, friends. And if you want to drop down a like, a share to your friends, or even a subscription to my channel, you would absolutely make my day super great. So see you guys next time, and bye bye.